I always think about who I could have become if I had a sixth grade teacher who actually cared and who actually wanted me to do well in the future, who wanted another adult in their community to do well. Because I'm the future. You'd want to set your future right so then you can live well. If you had the ability to teach a bunch of young kids and you're 24, 25 years old, by the time you're in your 40s or 50s, we're adults and we're pretty much impacting the world that you're living in. And it just felt like they didn't care. So, how's it going, y'all? Welcome back to the Gil Podcast. This podcast is about me, Gil, and the things that I'm currently obsessed with. Today is a very interesting episode. I mean, most episodes are, if you've been tuning in, but this is something that has been on my mind a lot lately. So I decided to sit down at some coffee, restaurant, vegan shop in South Florida called Living Green. It's a really nice spot. I've been there a couple of years ago and I needed to get my oil changed. So I had about like 2.5 hours that they told me that it'll take. So I decided to take a walk and walk down the street to where I remember there was this coffee shop / restaurant / vegan shop. So I decided to go check it out and pretty much put everything on airplane mode and kind of write down some thoughts. So that's what this episode is about. And it takes us way back to my 7th grade year. All right, let's get started. So I wrote down everything. So pretty much what you'll be hearing today is me, I guess, reading an audiobook, reading my thoughts that I wrote down this morning. So yeah, let's get into it. In the 7th grade, my teacher asked us all, what is our dream or goals that we want to achieve when we grow up? My friends are writing down what they would want, and they wanted a big house, a wife. I mean, duh, isn't that an obvious and almost easily obtainable goal? I had another friend who wanted muscles and lots of money. I wasn't interested in any of those simply because I knew that with life, those things come and go. I wanted something more. I wanted to share my art with the world. The world, my friend asked? A dream that was kind of hard to grasp at the time, especially in 2001. I mean, come on. The internet was just a place where I read my parents' emails, I went on Guy Online, and I was a moderator for an online forum. I mean, you watched anime and download games and stuff. That was pretty much what the internet was for me at that time. At the time, I didn't want to stick to just drawing. I said art. I wanted to be a photographer, videographer, and a radio host. It didn't make any sense to anyone, but I knew if I focused on my goal, I would be able to succeed. And that's what I did in the 7th grade. Literally, I came to school and just practiced drawing all day. I would write, I would paint, and I would play around with my computers and cameras when I had the chance. So my school had like these cameras sometimes, or my church would have cameras, and I would just tinker with them. And when I would get home, I would take apart computers that I saw on the way while I was walking home, or my dad would find computers scattered all over the place, like as he was coming home from work, and I would put the computers together and they would work. Sure enough, I would figure out how to get the computer started. And that's what I wanted to do. I really just wanted to focus on those things because those made me happy as a 7th grader, as a middle school, elementary school kid. Going back, I knew that my public school system honestly didn't care for me enough to even help me facilitate that goal. And what made me realize and come to that conclusion was I had a situation in the 6th grade. In the 6th grade, there was a teacher named Mrs. Smith. She was probably 25 years old at the time, and she hated me. I later noticed there was a pattern here. There was a big influx of women teachers who just hated me, hated my personality, and they would say things to me that are drilled in my head till this day. And they will say things like my 11th grade teacher, Mrs. Singletary, who would say something like, Haitian people like you think you can do anything. And she would say something like, oh, you have too much damn pride, boy. And my 7th grade teacher, Miss T. Williams, would say something like, yeah, you're going to end up working at the Krusty Krab. And you'd have my 3rd grade teacher, Miss Donaldson, who would lift me up by my collar and tell me that I ain't nothing. I stank, Haitians stank, y'all dumb. Yeah, so that's the stuff that I dealt with in a public school education system as a 3rd grader, 6th grader, 11th grader. That's the mentality that I was. Those are the people that were supervising me on a regular basis. So long story short, in the 7th grade, I knew that education system wasn't really going to help me out here. So what I would do is help myself by just getting ahead. If they're not going to help me out, let me at least get better at my craft so that when the time comes, I'm able to prove myself. One of the funniest things one of the teachers told me was that, I wrote it down here, you are manipulative and extremely violent, and I don't deserve to progress in this school. Mind you, I've never been in detention. I've never been suspended. I've never been in any fights. I've never been in any trouble at all. So except for 2001, May 18th, I'll probably do a podcast about that later on. That's when I was pretty much physically assaulted for no reason other than my race. So that's another story. So going back to the story here. In the 6th grade, I know the story's kind of jumping all over the place, but stick with it. So in the 6th grade, Mrs. Smith was supervising us, or just being a teacher. And this day, there was a young lady named Tiara Smith. I remember correctly, she was just a menace. She was a bully. She would cut me, spit on me, rip my clothes, pull down my pants, tell me that I ain't crap either, just like the teachers would. And believe it or not, she was a really beautiful girl. Tiara Smith, and I ran into her as an adult, maybe right after college. And she just was like, wow. Oh yeah, I remember she was a really pretty girl, pretty chick, pretty young girl, great personality, extremely smart, educated, just didn't have the right guidance, I guess, from, I don't know. She just didn't have the right guidance, in my opinion, but really beautiful, really smart, intelligent, articulate, creative, but she just hung around the wrong crowd, and she terrorized Miss Smith this day. Pretty much threw stuff at her, called her stupid, and yeah, it was pretty bad. It was a really bad day, and Miss Smith just left the classroom in tears. She came back with another faculty member, a male teacher, and she basically pointed out all of the kids and told them to go to the principal's office. She pointed out several kids. I was part of that bunch. I was kind of confused. So I was thinking, oh, maybe they want me to detail what happened, but I'm not going to snitch. What the hell? I don't know why they have me here. So we're in the principal's office, and I've never been in the principal's office before. So it was like an oval office shape. So I started to soak in the scenery, soak in the imagery of what a principal office looks like, so I can utilize it later in the drawing or comic book or something. So Mr. Principal Johnson was going on about responsibility, taking responsibility, being respectful. And he was going on and on and on. And then my mind started racing about the type of skits or type of funny comedy sketches I can film in here, or funny comic books I can do. I just started just thinking and thinking. And then my creative mind just kind of stopped, because Principal Johnson just kept, he said something that kind of, I forgot what triggered it, but it was something along the lines of, you guys are delinquents, you guys are bad kids, you guys need to do better. So I waited for him to stop, and I said, Mr. Johnson, what am I doing here? And with an overacted, just something, it was so fake. It was so weird, and it makes me really emotional thinking about it. But Miss Smith said he's the main one. He's the main culprit. He's the baddest one of them all. And she said that I'm the baddest one of them all. The look on the face of the other kids, I thought at some point one of them would stick up for me and say, no, Gil didn't do anything. Oh, they didn't call me Gil back then. They called me Gilliam. You know, they couldn't pronounce my name Guillaume, so they called me Gilliam. So Gilliam didn't do anything. That Haitian kid didn't do nothing. No, they didn't say anything. They didn't say nothing. And I just try to stick up for myself. I was super shy, still shy almost to this day when it comes to certain things. But when it comes to like being accused of something, being pointed at, and I know I didn't do anything wrong, I'm not standing for that. So I said, I didn't do anything wrong. And I was told to shut up. I was told that I was terrorizing the classroom and made her day bad, that she had to cry and she doesn't know what to do with me. And yeah, it was pretty bad. So Principal Johnson said, all of us, I forget how many of us, it was all of us. And like I said, Tiara wasn't there. So it just was kind of weird how she was the main one. She wasn't in the principal's office, but it was everybody else and me. So Principal Johnson said that we're all getting suspended for 7 days. Mind you, I did my thing, in school. I get good grades, won't be late, never tardy, never missed a bus. Like I said, no detention, no suspensions. And in a couple days, so I got suspended. It was like a Thursday, and Monday was the FCAT, which is a standardized testing for Florida. And you need to pass that in order to go to the next grade. So I thought it was weird. Like, you're going to suspend me when the FCAT is Monday? And they essentially said, you made the bed, not lie in it. Also something like, play stupid games, win stupid prizes, that type of vernacular that they were giving me. So the whole sarcasm, the southern slang, I didn't understand it, that they did not want to associate with me. They were pretty much telling me, get the hell out of my face, kid. And I'm just trying to get help and trying to understand, why am I here? And I had nobody to talk to. Friday came. I'm trying to figure out what to do. And then couldn't figure it out. So Monday came, the day of the FCAT, the standardized testing. So I go to Principal Johnson's office early in the morning, and I say, sir, if you look at my record, I have no history of, any type of craziness. Like, I'm never late. No teachers have any remarks. I don't even know what your office looks like up until now. And he looked at me, and it was just more like a, wait, hold on. You're that kid who has like a Bible in his backpack that kids make fun of all the time. You're the one who dresses in church clothes. And he looked at me, it's very like confused, like, she said you're the main culprit. Like, you can tell he was just unraveling in his head. And essentially he just said, you know what? You're already here. You're showing me that you want to take the test. You're showing me that you're a good person. So go ahead. I approve you to take the test. So the FCAT is not taken inside of the classroom. It's taken like in an auditorium. It actually was taking place in my school had a debate class. So it was taken in that debate courtroom, whatever room that was. It was a pretty big room. And I walked in and saw my name like on the table, you know, for where I'll be seating. And Miss Smith sees me from like the end of the room, and her face just was like, what the hell is this demonic thing doing here? And she just spoke to a teacher, and another teacher came to me. Hey, what are you doing here? Oh, I said, I'm sitting here. This is where I'm taking the FCAT. Well, you're not supposed to be here. And I was like, well, now Mr. Johnson approved and amended my suspension. Okay, I have to talk to Mr. Johnson. So after getting the word from Mr. Johnson, Miss Smith still was reluctant to give me my packet to start the test. I actually started late. I didn't get enough time to even start, which I thought was also kind of wrong. We have to start at the same time or give me the same amount of time everybody else did, that everybody else is getting. And she just kept giving me looks when I would look up, and I just couldn't understand, what did I do in order to, you know, get that hate. And even fast forwarding to, you know, a couple other teachers that, you know, I just kind of like forgot to even mention earlier. Like, what did I do in order to just be disrespected simply because, you know, I want better for myself, or I'm not being different, I'm just being myself. I remember one teacher just said, I think I said it earlier, I got too much damn pride. Boy, you got too much pride. Like, you think you're all that, because I would dress a certain way and I would just come to school, shirts ironed, clean, backpack, respecting everybody. And I would, you know, growing up, my parents would tell me that's how you want to be shown. That's how you want to be seen in school, especially like in a public school where you're a foreigner. You're an immigrant. You're not like everybody else. Your culture is different. So you want to be able to, of course, assimilate, but you also want to not stand out, but you also want to, hey, you know, I'm like you, but we're all like different sections. So here's what I come with and here's what you come with, but we're all the same. And I always was so proud when somebody asked me, hey, where are you from? And I was like, I'm from Haiti. And I always get pushback growing up because I felt like as if they would want me to be ashamed to even say that. So, man, it hurts me because I always think about who Gil could have become if his teachers actually cared. Who could Gil have grown up to be in school if, you know, his teachers who look like him could have gave him an opportunity? The only person that ever came to me and said, hey, you know, you should probably stop doing this drawing thing and try to focus on your work was another Haitian teacher. He was just a Haitian guy. He taught us math, Mr. Mateo. He said, hey, Guillaume, I think you should try to focus on your schoolwork. Because after that incident, after I passed the FCAT, obviously, I mean, it was super easy, barely an inconvenience. seventh grade came and I vowed not to do my schoolwork. I vowed to come to school, do what I had to do, respect the teachers, respect everybody else. But I vowed to just learn how to write stories, and just focus on that and do that solely. And it was to the point where I said, they're going to acknowledge me. They're going to see that I come to school every single day. They're going to see that I do what I have to do, but I'm not doing their work. No teacher came to me for the whole school year besides my one math teacher. And that was towards the end of the school year, if I remember correctly. But no other teacher said anything. I was failing. They would smile in my face, not care, tell me that I'll be working at the Krusty Krab. I would draw and draw and draw and draw all day and not be disrespectful. When they asked me to stop and do the work, I would stop and do the work. Right after I finished doing the work and get all the answers right, because I listen, I'm a great listener, they would just not know what to do. They would just not even talk to me. There were some teachers who just didn't even look at me when they found out that who I am and what I like to do. They just wouldn't even look at me. And my peers were kind of confused. They're like, oh, Gil's a great kid. I don't understand what's going on here. So seventh grade came and went, and I was retained. It hurt me a lot because I thought that, you know what, maybe they'll see me. Very elementary thinking. When I think back on it, I wouldn't do that again. But I was thinking at the time, in that young mentality, oh yeah, they're going to see me doing this art, and they're going to try to find a way to build a curriculum for me, because I can do the work. It's just that I really want to be an artist. I really want to focus on computers. I really want to focus on cameras. I really want to do the morning announcements. But they never, ever pushed me to do that. My elementary school was really fantastic. Thurgood Marshall Elementary School. We were a part of the morning announcements. We did photography. We did art. I had several art pieces, 2 art pieces that made it to our actual South Florida art museum. And my sister did as well. This elementary school had so much. They taught us Japanese, French, ASL, American Sign Language. And it wasn't a magnet school. It just was a really funded elementary school that my parents just so happened to live nearby. And that's the one that I went to school to. And they taught us really well. And my middle school just went down from there. I thought that I was going to get a better sense of education, better help, but I didn't. And then high school was just more like what I learned from 7th grade. They don't care about you. They're just collecting a check. They're just here to work, and I got to do my part. So after my second run in the 7th grade, I had a thing against people who serve the public and when they don't do a good job. Because like I said, I always think about who I could have become if I had a 6th grade teacher who actually cared and who actually wanted me to do well in the future, who wanted another adult in their community to do well. Because I'm the future. You'd want to set your future right so then you can live well in your world. Like if you had the ability to teach a bunch of young kids and you're 24, 25 years old, by the time you're in your 40s or 50s, we're adults and we're pretty much impacting the world that you're living in. And it just felt like they didn't care. So yeah, this is like that, man, this sucks. I really don't like this episode, but that was just on my mind and I wrote it down. And I just wanted to let y'all know that, man, imagine what you could have done if you had the right people supporting you. Imagine the things you could have accomplished if you had just the right person just helping you out and guiding you, especially at a young age, 6th grade, And this came a time around 2001, it was just a early time where we didn't know what was going on, especially in our country. So, yeah. All right, y'all. Hate to give y'all that sad podcast, but that's what was on my mind. And this is the Guild Podcast. You're going to get it raw.
Hey, yo!
You're going to get it unfiltered. And there we go. Hope y'all enjoyed this episode. And let me know if y'all ever had to deal with that growing up. All right, y'all. Peace.